Today's video is going to address a different dynamic of the Kundalini experience. And what I mean by that is I've been sharing different aspects as it relates to ancient artifacts, ancient documentations, ancient scripture, what the real life experience is. So in previous videos, I described hanging on the cross. What a blown out, overindulged, ego, morbid change to hanging on the cross from what the actual experience is. You don't physically hang on a cross. And as I described in that video, it is working the Kabbalah pathwork and nailing each aspect in order to rise off of that Kabbalah flower of life and going up to heaven, or a sphere separating into the next petal, the next flower, the next dimension. So I have described that. Today's video is going to be about the kaleidoscope. And you know the kaleidoscope. It's that little toy that most of us receive when we are a child, and you put it up to your eye and you look through, and when you turn the little view box, you get different views. You get a different perspective. And ever since February 7th, I would say, which is my birthday. Ever since February 7th, I did an action, and I have been experiencing a kaleidoscope view ever since. So the action that I did, because this space is my body, I guess you could say, what happens to me happens to my environment. It changes my environment. So on February 7th, I decided to celebrate my birthday by going to a hot spring, a mineral spring. And in Colorado, they are all over the region where I am. and so I knew this from years ago doing it, but when I submerge under the water, it is like submerging under the cosmic ocean. And when I come back up, I am literally in a different place, in a different dimension, in a different space. And you may say, oh yeah, right, how do you know that? Well, trust me, I know from my reality perception changing. And so what happens? What happens was I work, and I tried working in amongst the people, but due to my energy, it doesn't work out for very long, very well. And the people can't handle my energy because it is divine energy, and it is much more intense than your frequency. So your frequency is C frequency, earth frequency. It's basically the lowest on the octave scale, the musical scale. However, some of you may have a slightly elevated frequency. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B. As you can tell, if you are operating at a C or D frequency, and I am operating at a B or higher frequency, that does not mesh. It's like oil and water. And so what happens is my energy intensifies your energy. So if you have unresolved, unconscious, or even conscious issues, it will magnify in my presence. And so if you like to drink, for example, if you like to drink alcohol, and you are around me for any length of time, and you're not aware that you have a drinking problem, then you will continue to drink and drink and drink and drink and drink until it becomes aware to you that you are basically an alcoholic. So it's not that you will drink more throughout the day, it's just that you will drink. So for example, if you like to have a drink in the evening, and many people do, you know, a beer after work, a glass of wine, something like that to kind of relax and unwind, instead of soaking in a soothing mineral salt bath, you drink a glass of wine. And what happens then is that you will drink 2 glasses of wine. And then maybe you will start to drink multiple times a week instead of just once a week. And this will slowly evolve. It doesn't happen like, you know, instantly. It slowly evolves so that your subconscious is trying to tell you that you shouldn't be drinking. But with my energy, it magnifies it. So pretty soon you'll be drinking a bottle a day, and it just intensifies. Another example is if you are a jealous person, then if you are around me on a continuous basis, you will start to react more and more and more as a jealous person. And so I have to deal with that. But then everyone else around you is also going to see that, wow, you know, why is she so insecure? She's really jealous. And it starts to magnify. So the magnification is not to harm you or anyone else. It is to make you aware of what you're doing so you can change it. But most people are asleep. You are consciously asleep. And so you point fingers at me. You point fingers at everyone else instead of looking at, wow, why am I so insecure? And then overcoming that jealousy and finding your own security within your own being. So being around people a lot can be a problem for me because I bring out their issues. And it isn't even me, it's the Kundalini energy of God. So I make you aware of your issues even if you don't recognize it. But I see it like a neon light, you know, like, jealous, 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 alcoholic, 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 that kind of thing. And so, of course, I don't want to be around you then because I can see that your issues are really unhealthy. And if I make a suggestion, if I bring that to your awareness, then you will attack me. You will deny it. You'll do that instant denial, attack me type of behavior. And maybe one day you will wake up and see that your problem is you and not me, but it can be a real challenge. So, that being explained, the kaleidoscope effect is this. Before I went under I fully submerged my body under in the mineral spring pool. And I did this because I was not liking the realm dimension that I was in. It was becoming really problematic, so I wanted to change it. And so I went to this mineral spring and I just submerged. And then I start to see these clouds that are iridescent. My whole perception of reality starts to change. Before I went to the mineral spring, at work, I was dealing with an issue with overtime pay. And so I'm put in these positions so God can change the world. But I have to deal with that position. And so the deal was that I took leave from work, and like a sick day, but I only took like 4 hours of a sick day, and then later in that pay period, I ended up working overtime, and so I wasn't paid for working overtime. And so I talked to my payroll department at HR, and they said, oh, no problem. We'll just tweak your leave so that you can get paid overtime. And this was on a video recording. And so they tweaked my leave, and so that I could get paid time and a half for the overtime. And then when I get paid, it's not there. And so so the scenario was, I'm going to get paid. They're tweaking my leave for overtime. Not an issue. Next pay period, you'll get paid. So I dunk under the ocean, and I come up to a different space and time. And suddenly when I get paid, there's a problem. Oh, well, you can't tweak your family leave. This is like the second in command of HR, payroll. And I'm like, no, I was just in a video chat, and she said specifically that I can do this, so I did it. And I had another person in payroll adjust my digital pay card time to do that and everything. So after I submerge and come back out of the cosmic ocean, they're like, no, you can't do that. You have to, if you take any kind of leave, you don't get overtime. And I'm like, but I worked overtime. and I have an email that says, oh, sure, it's doable to do this. And now everything is the complete opposite. And so I tweaked they tweaked my time card, and now I not only don't get overtime, but then they decided that I had an overpayment, that I actually owed them money. And I'm like, what? I don't owe you money. You owe me money. I worked almost an hour of overtime, and I was told by HR I can do this, and now I can't do this. And so now it's been 2 months of adjusting this, because in the first month they said yes, so they made the adjustment. Then I submerged on February 7th. Now it has been another month, and they finally have agreed that I don't owe them money. But now they don't know what to do to fix my pay with overtime. Because in the contract, it says that, in the contract before I submerged, it said that regular time is, and sick time and family time and vacation time is considered regular working pay, because you're still getting paid your full wage. So you can do this. But now in the altered dimension, the altered reality, I can't do it, and the contract actually says that I have to physically work 40 hours or more, or I don't get paid overtime. So I'm like, okay, Jesus, so what are you doing here? Because I worked overtime, and I don't work for free for these people, and what's going to come of this? So he said, be patient. He's doing something. And so I'm like, okay. But that's one example of an altered reality, and a parallel universe, a tweaking of that kaleidoscope view. So a kaleidoscope view is a toy that many children get when they are young, and you look through it and then you turn the little end of it, and with the mirrors and colors in there, it's really beautiful. Actually, it gives you a slightly different perspective, but that different perspective can be profound in your actual life experience. So another example of what I have been experiencing basically since my birthday is the Kaleidoscope View. Sometimes it changes daily, sometimes it changes throughout the day, and sometimes there's no change. Like I actually get that view for a little while. So another one was, I really don't like where I am currently residing, and so I'm looking for another place to live. And so I looked at these apartments, and I sent a instant message to the ad that was online, and I still have that posted. And I was just like, hey, I'm interested. Please let me know if this is available. And there were actually 2 of them that I liked. And so that has been, 10 days. And right after that, I felt, after I initially responded to them and inquired, is this available? I'd like to take a look at it. I don't have pets, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then I had a shift of my consciousness, and the ad disappeared online. And I've never heard from the people. I sent it in. I still have the instant message on my phone, on my messenger app. And no one has responded. And so I'm like, okay, so I changed Kaleidoscope View again. And what was there, an apartment, a house for sale, whatever, now isn't, or it is in a slightly different view. And the ad is completely gone. It disappeared within an hour of me applying. When that shift happened, boom, that ad just disappeared. So I'm like, okay, well, this is challenging. You can call it an adventure if you're positive and adventurous, but it can definitely be challenging. Another example of the Kaleidoscope View is at work. So at work, I work remote, and so I do everything via a headset and chat, and I have multiple monitors and things like that. So I am in contact with my employment through chat, and I also have the video capability if there needs to be a video meeting or something like that. So this week, just taking the very raw, in the moment experience. This week, I was given guidance, instruction that the team is going to be doing a certain action this way. And so I'm like, cool, okay. So, I implement that into my workload. And then I have a shift in my consciousness. I have that slight kaleidoscope change. And suddenly that's not the way we're supposed to do it. And so now I'm doing it wrong. And now we're going to be doing it a different way. So I need to change my behaviors, my implementation of that policy again. So what I have been doing, because all the chat records are saved, is taking photos. And I'm saying, okay, well, here is your instruction. Because then my supervisor was saying, well, you're not doing it right. And I'm like, well, you just told me to do it this way. And she's like, no, we don't do it that way. And I'm like, so I take a photograph with my phone of the chat that says, do it this way. And this was on Monday. And then on Thursday, when the shift happens and it's changed, I can say, well, you actually said, and here's the proof. So then what are they going to do? But then I'm putting it on them to own up to what is the actual policy. And if you told me to do it this way, then why are you telling me to do it a different way? And it is not my error in following the guidance. So, needless to say, there is absolutely zero, zilch, no consistency whatsoever on a kaleidoscope view. It changes so dramatically that there's no ability to really adjust. So the moment you adjust, then you have to adjust again, and you have to adjust again. So this is the new little game that I am being shown, and it's not a game. It is not fun. It is so confusing. So when I have said in other videos that, you know, oh my gosh, there are good things that happen, but it's also really, really confusing. And then depending on which energy. So even though I have tried to blend the energies, there are days where a certain color energy, it's that Native American black, red, yellow, white wheel, or blue, I don't know. I just take the whole rainbow spectrum and then some. And then I also experience beyond the visible light spectrum, but take that whole energy field and apply that to a day. So some days there's like black energy, and black energy is not negative energy, it's just black energy. So I have to, they were expecting me to be aware of this energy and live my life accordingly. And I was trying to do that for months, a year or more. And then I just said, you know what, this is stupid. So you can play your little color game. I'm not participating. I'm going to deal with every day. And if something happens, fix it. You know, fix it, Jesus, that's your job. So it has been a dynamic. I try to remain positive, and I try to have fun with good people. And you know, when I'm on the phones, I will make people laugh. And some people say, you know what, you're like an angel. Thank you so much for your patience, because, you know, I'm sitting there giving them instructions to do something. There's written instructions on the internet on how to do it. And some people just are not tech savvy and they don't get it. You know, they don't understand. And so I have to sit and walk them through every single step. And so I try to empower them and say, read it. What does it tell you to do? Read the prompts. What is it telling you to do? And sometimes they just still don't understand. And I'm like, yikes. I hope you didn't reproduce in the world. Jeez. But it's not that they're stupid. It's not that they're ignorant or even needy, lazy, or wanting me to do it for them. They just simply don't understand it and are requiring help. So anyway, it can be a very tiring day. At the end of the day, sometimes I just go to bed. And I have gone to bed like at 7:30 at night and just fallen asleep because it can be really, really exhausting. So this video is about real life, actual day-to-day experience of awakened Kundalini, of the different dynamics, the different parallel universe views, the different kaleidoscope views of reality. There isn't one reality. There is normal. There is something that is normal. But there is not one reality. And so every single one of us is looking at life through our own experience, our own histories, our own neuroses, our own insecurities, our own subconscious hidden perspectives, our own ego view. And so just like when you do that little campfire, pass along the message, and 20 people later the message is completely different from what the original message was, because every single person adds their own dynamic. It is the exact same thing when it comes to everyday reality. So you may be experiencing the exact same moment with your spouse, but you're going to see that, you're going to experience and feel that reality differently from them, no matter how in sync you are, no matter how close and on the same page you are. So it can be a challenge. You don't necessarily know that with your spouse. You're not thinking about that, but with awakened Kundalini, being enlightened means that it becomes magnified. I see it for you. I see all of it. I see your insecurity. I see your right or wrong judgment of a situation. I see your spouse's confidence and their right or wrong judgment of a situation. And so if you're not ready to be awakened to really and truly experience the full spectrum of life, do not awaken Kundalini, because you will experience the most profound and challenging situations that you could ever even imagine. You can't even imagine the things you're going to experience. Now, while most of it, I have to admit, is good and wonderful and blissful, there is a negative dynamic, and sometimes the negative can last for days, or it could be hours or days or weeks, and it can be really overwhelming and problematic. You have to deal with the problem. The current issue is the ego, where I am, is fighting back against some of the changes that God is implementing through me. And so because they're in that dimension, the ego was garbage. It really was garbage. It was dirty and mean and nasty and loud and just, you know, like rebelling against me, right? Me and God. And so at the post office, they removed all of the trash bins. Even though they were recycling the paper, they removed every single trash bin from my local post office. Every single one of them. and they put up handwritten signs that said, sorry, you know, the trash bins have been removed. And I'm like, this is a federal building. This is a federal government. And you can't just remove trash bins, you know? So I went to neighboring communities and they all have trash bins. But my local community, because my ego was rebelling, removed all of the trash bins. So, you know, as God moves me, I had a piece of trash in my mail, junk mail. So I took it up to the counter and I handed it to the lady who I have known for like 8 years. And she yells at me, right? "We are not your trash." and I tore up the one. It was like a 5x8 advertisement note card. So I just tore it in 4 pieces and laid it on the counter. And I said nothing, and I left. So she went and took those 4 pieces and put them in my mailbox. So I called her supervisor and said, you know, she needs a reprimand. She doesn't yell at me, first of all, and she doesn't put trash into my post box. When I asked her very nicely to dispose of this one little, piece of paper, and especially when she has a trash bin right below her feet at the counter. So that is the ego reacting to the changes that God is making through me. And those are some of the things I have to deal with. And I'm like, so then, here's this new issue. Now I took pictures of all the surrounding communities having trash bins. And so I have to contact the federal government and say, can you please put trash bins back in the post office in Gunnison, Colorado? Because the dimension that I am in, they have removed them because they think that I think they are trash. And some of them are. To be quite honest, some of them are. But not all of them, it's like, it's crazy. So I have had a 2025 of absolute chaos, really, that God is maneuvering to change the government, to change the dimension that I am in, to change me, to make an impact. I have been taken down into some not so good places in order to change it. And then, I'm elevated to the highest heaven, the most blissful perfection. The whole day is like dancing on clouds. The people are angelic and kind and fun at work on the phones, and the town is normal, if you will, normal quiet, or even quiet. No loud trucks with big exhausts, and no rude drivers, because I have to contend with a lot of rude drivers trying to drive right up on my bumper really fast and trying to run me off the road, and when I am being inspired to change things. So sometimes I just have to stay in my apartment away from them because they just cannot handle it. And that is another huge dynamic of the Kundalini journey. Also, when I have that dimensional shift, suddenly a business will close or change locations, just instantly that day. Or they will disappear. They will simply disappear like an advertisement. And I think sometimes they try to refer to this as the matrix, and it's not truly the matrix. It's just a kaleidoscope view. It's just a shift of reality. And sometimes it can be more vibrant, and sometimes it can be rather dull. So that's going to wrap up today's video. I think I've talked long enough. Think more, talk less. that's my my parting message of this day in this video. You can laugh because it is funny. You can go, oh geez, because it is an oh geez kind of situation. But it is also an adventure. It is not dull. I cannot say that I am necessarily bored. If anything, it can be really, really overwhelming to try to maneuver through all of the changes, keep my sanity, and trust God, because in any of these given moments, you know, I could lose my job, kind of a thing. I mean, that's what most people would think. Oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my job. Well, I don't really want this job. So I don't really care too much about that. And I know God will provide if something like that should happen. He'll provide, and I'll just go on to something else. But anytime that I am among people too much, too often, they can't handle it. They truly cannot handle this energy. And, you know, it's like you're not going to put Paris Hilton with a homeless drunk and expect them to work together cohesively. And to think that all of Jesus's interactions with people 2,500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, was all flowers and roses, except for the whole passion misconception. He did not, and he did not have. We did not have an easy time. It is not an easy time. The one thing that the biblical scriptures, Torah, and the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, one of the things that is consistent is that even though they would have been women, they were depicted as men. The people chosen by God are to change the world. They are generally not liked by most of society because they are implementing changes, and people are habitual. Face it, you know, you get up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you get your coffee, you eat your food, you get your tea, you eat a donut, you take a shower. You know, you go through the same routine every single day, and your life becomes a routine if you don't wake up and change it, if you don't take a vacation, if you don't experience something new. And so at the sun house change, the solar house change, from Pisces to Aquarius, from Taurus to Leo, you know, from those solar house changes, every single time one is profoundly awakened to make the changes in society for improvement according to God's will. And so that journeyer will heal, will bring people back to life, will change society's norms, will upset the status quo. And although God protects you, you still have to deal with the changes that God is implementing. And sometimes it's not accepted in your realm. So, beautiful people, this is the real experience. This is another view, and I thank you for watching my video and learning, because one day, every single one of you will experience this. One day you will. It may be thousands of years from now when your soul is complete with your physical incarnation and you evolve back to light, back to a full light being. But you will experience this. So goodness and blessings to all of you. And as always, I hope you have a very beautiful day. Thank you.